Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good people. Yeah, you know what it is. Hard worker, scrappy, unfiltered, and sometimes unhinged football content. Hard to explain, but you know it when you see it. Doing it daily our way. I don't know what you're talking about right now. Redraft and Dynasty Fantasy Football, we got you covered. You know their defense is ranked like 31st in the NFL? NFL draft prospects and rookies? Now you know you in the right place for that.
Absolutely.
All right, then stop saying it. Then we're done. And prop bets with my man Jay Rich.
Count that money, man.
Now wipe the crust out of your eyes, get you a cup of coffee. It's time to wake your ass up with Ray G. You honestly are making absolutely no sense and you sound silly as hell. Good morning, 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 good people. Friday, July 8th, 2022. Y'all decided to wake y'all asses up with Ray G. Y'all know I appreciate you being here. Thank you for being here on a Friday. Happy Friday to everybody out there. Hope you've had a fantastic freaking week. If you're new to the channel, if you're new to the show, sincerely appreciate you waking up and tapping in with us, man. Me and Jay Rich love doing this, love chopping it up about football, fantasy, Mike Anderson, NBA. We may talk a little NBA, but we appreciate y'all being here and tapping in with us. So make sure you hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, comment, as James always says, for the algorithm. Shout out to Prize Picks. Prize Picks down today. Drip down in Prize Picks. Sponsoring the show. Use the promo code WAKEUP for $100 if you're a first-time depositor. Go do it. Get in on those NFL futures, WNBA, MLB, esports, Madden, all kinds of crazy stuff that you can put over-unders on, win some free money. Well, it ain't free money, but win some money over there on Prize Picks. So we appreciate you tapping in with us, and I see the people are active this morning. Looks like Joe's got my girl Joe looked like a new YouTube picture there. Good morning to you, Joe. How you doing? Ja Webb, Dalton in the building. Marlon, what's up? Dynasty Barry. Drew Sorensen Music, what's happening with you? Patrick Price, what's going down, my guy? Rob Downs, Alan Davis, Ricardo. I see EV in the building. Luke, Cody. It's a good crew. James, what's up, baby? Jeff in the building. Yeah, very strange. Very strange. Why would Cleveland do this now? Let's think about it. Very strange trade. Baker Mayfield traded. Yes, Baker was traded. We'll talk about Baker Mayfield, where he's at, where we should be drafting him, what we should trade him for. Does this matter? Is it non-news? We knew it was coming eventually. We'll kind of conspiracy theory what this means for Cleveland and maybe a potential some resolution for Deshaun Watson, which hopefully we'll get here in the next couple of days. But I need my man. Jay Rich was having some internet issues today, so I don't know what he looks like. It could be fuzzy. It could be 32-bit pixelated. But we're going to bring Jay Rich in the building. Jay, how you doing, baby?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm happy. Oh, look at me. I look good,
you look
right?
Good,
Do I look
man.
good?
You look good.
I look
got
good?
A haircut.
Perfect.
You got a haircut?
Yeah. I got a haircut. Thank you for noticing. I'm going to a
Yeah.
wedding tomorrow, so I had to make sure that I show it off. You know, ooh, look at the fade, looking crispy.
Yeah, you look good,
But
man.
I'm excited, man. It's gonna be a good show. We can talk Baker Mayfield. Finally have some resolution there. Fun on a Friday. Some news, right? I don't know if you caught the NHL draft yesterday. It was pretty crazy.
I was tapped in.
Were
From
you?
start to finish.
Yeah, it should be, man. The number one or projected number one pick ended up going number 4. There was trades. It was madness. People were excited. I'm not an NHL draft guy, but apparently it was pretty dope. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught that, but I don't know if you want me to just get into the news or
Yeah,
something you want to talk
get
about.
into the news. Get into the news.
So Ray, one of the most interesting stories outside of obviously Baker Mayfield was the Raiders hiring a new president, the first female black president in NFL history, Sandra Douglas Morgan. And Ray, I think why this is very interesting overall is because I don't know if you even remember this, but the previous interim president, Dan Ventrell, left the organization. He's the one who actually sued the Raiders, claiming he was fired on it, like without cause and stuff like that. And so the main reason why this is interesting is he's the one who said there's organizational issues within the Raiders. There's lots of questionable things happening. It's a hostile work environment. And this is a story around the time that Gruden got fired as well. So they come in and they bring the first female black president. And I'm kind of wondering, like, while she's super qualified, she's worked for the Nevada Gaming Commission, she's worked for MGM, she's done a ton of things, she's a lawyer, all this stuff, super accomplished individual. I'm curious how the Raiders made this decision and if maybe it was because of these previous allegations towards the organization as a whole for having this toxic work environment. Yeah. So that to me wasn't because I did forget about that. But now looking back on the story, I'm like, Let's see how this plays out, but I think it's great they're doing that. And Ray, I believe, I'm not 100% sure on this. I know they hired the first female president when it was Amy Trask, but now they're hiring the first female black president, which is really cool, very progressive by the Raiders, and they have done this in the past.
And check,
so that was really cool to see.
She's from my hometown, bro. She's North Las Vegas. That's where I'm from, North Las Vegas. So shout out to North Las Vegas, man.
Yeah, it's very, very cool story. Like you said, Vegas born and raised. To see her run the Raiders now is pretty cool. But getting back to football a little bit, how do you feel about Ronald Jones this season? There's apparently reports, he's a legit candidate to earn the starting job, which I think we all projected. Clyde hasn't really shown he's the guy. Ronald Jones, obviously a very good runner of the football. It's just, can he catch passes and be involved in the passing game? It seems like he could be a legit guy. And what are your expectations for Jones this season?
Oh, man. We said this once they signed him. I don't think anybody thinks that Ronald Jones is some world beater, right? Like he's going to be some league-winning runner, but he is a good, when you just hand him the ball, like you got to give it to him. He's explosive, right? He's fast, he's explosive, he's got the size. Like he's got all the components to be a good NFL running back, but he just somehow doesn't know how to put it all together consistently. I mean, Clyde's been terrible, man. He's not been terrible, but they haven't.
God awful.
They have not trusted him since like week 2 of his rookie season, right?
Yeah.
Like he got stuffed 5 times on the goal line, and it's been like downhill since then. He's played well in flashes, man. Like if we're being real, he's played well when they turn around and hand him the ball in flashes, in spurts, but it has not been consistent over the course of his career so far. So bringing back Jerick McKinnon and then bringing in a Ronald Jones, just I don't know, man. I'll just ask you: would you rather have Clyde Edwards as RB28 or Ronald Jones at RB46?
I'm taking Ronald Jones.
He fumbles the ball. He can't catch. He fumbles the ball, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Like I think they know that Clyde probably isn't the guy, and they made a big time mistake. Sounds dirty, sounds gross, but here's the thing. Here's the reality. Here's the reality of football. This might be new to everybody, but multiple backs will play. Every team. Yeah. Multiple backs will play. Multiple backs will get an opportunity for every team that we like. Like it's going to be Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. It's going to be Zeke and Tony Pollard. It's going to be Chubb and Kareem Hunt and some Dearness Johnson. Like, that's just the NFL. So, regardless if we like him or not, Ronald Jones is probably going to get an opportunity to play. Am I telling anybody go out there and go get him to be your RB2, your RB3? Nah, man. But in deep leagues, if you've got the bench spot, why would you not want a piece of one of the best offenses in the NFL? And ultimately, like we always talk about, we're really bad at projecting player outcomes, pretty good at projecting how good teams are going to be offensively and defensively. This is going to be a good team. There's going to be opportunity to carry the ball. He cost you nothing. So, interesting report, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's really got a fair shake either. So I'm interested to see how he does play. Because when he started outside the fumbles, he actually has been pretty good. But on the receiver side in Kansas City, apparently your boy, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, is the best looking receiver in camp. Everyone wants it to be Juju, Sky Moore, but maybe, just maybe, MVS could be the guy that takes that offense to where it could be. You know, the loss of Tyreek Hill is obviously massive, but getting an MVS, another deep threat, a guy who can stretch the field, maybe can do more than that. You know, I don't really know how developed his route tree is overall. We see him run deep a lot. He can run a crosser, obviously, because he's fast as hell. But where are you at with MVS? Because I think he really could be a flex viable option this year. But again, it depends on what is his role going to be like in the NFL this year for the Chiefs, and how are they going to spread that ball around. We know they're probably going to get the ball to Travis Kelce a ton, but we can't even necessarily project what the role is going to be for Sky Moore, for Juju, and for MVS. But do you think he could be the wide receiver 2 in Kansas City this year?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%, Jay. He's going to do what MVS always has done, and that's stretch the field. And we know Patrick Mahomes is fantastic at extending plays, kind of going off script, wanting to push the ball downfield. It was funny watching Kansas City operate down the stretch where they kind of told Mahomes to chill out and take what's there, and to watch him, like, it's like, I want to throw it deep. I got to check it down. I got to throw the 5-yard out route, right? There is no 1-for-1 replacement for Tyreek Hill. The dude is literally a one-of-one type wide receiver, a one-of-one athlete. But MVS does have a particular set of skills, right? And what he does with that particular set of skills is stretch the field, run deep. And I think it's going to be fruitful in Kansas City. I asked the question in our Discord yesterday, patreon.com/allgas. I said, would it shock anybody if MVS is the number two leading receiver on Kansas City at the end of the season? And some people said, oh, it may shock me. I was like, well, who do you project to outproduce him? And the only name is Juju. It's going to be Travis Kelce's going to lead the team in every receiving category, every single one. But after that, Juju, I'm not banking on Sky Moore this season. We continue to talk about Sky Moore. I think this is a next year play. I do not envision Sky Moore having 900 receiving yards as a rookie. If he does, holy hell, the ADP to the moon for 2023. But to answer your question, it doesn't shock me because if you look at the wide receivers that they have, I mean, Juju's not very fast. He's not very explosive. So I'm sure MVS does look good in practice. He looks faster than everybody out there. He's got good size. So at wide receiver 64, coming off the board as the 161st pick in startup drafts, sandwiched in between Wan'Dale Robinson and Tyler Boyd, I take a shot on wide receiver 64 again. I'm banking on the offense. I'm banking on scoring opportunities, the quarterback, a good offense. I'm fine with Marquez Valdes-Scantling, man.
Okay, so Ray, I have to talk about this now because I've been getting excited. I've been hot and bothered for a little while now. QB5, former MVP, injured last season, catches a lot of hate. Lamar Jackson. Have you seen the pictures?
I see him.
Look at this man.
I see him.
Oh, I looked the wrong way.
Yeah, you looked the wrong way. Yeah, you looked the wrong way.
Look at this man. Lamar Jackson. Look at this man. Look at those arms.
Looks good.
Man, he looks like a guy who can sling it. You know what I'm saying? Everyone says, oh, Lamar Jackson can't throw. I mean, I said that a little bit sometimes. But, man, if he comes back with a vengeance, it would be incredible, man. Like, the way that Lamar Jackson plays, how physical he can be, how imposing he is to defenses. If he is faster, stronger, more stamina, like working, the Ravens could be damn good. Like, I know that people aren't projecting them to win the division. It's Cincinnati, like, by and far. But, I mean, the Ravens, it comes down to their defense for them. We saw them sign Marcus Williams in the offseason, big contract to be that free safety for the Ravens that they desperately needed because they got beat deep all last season. And then you have Lamar running this offense. If the running backs come back, if Lamar's looking good, I mean, the Ravens could be a sneaky play. He's looking big. Now, we know these guys get bigger in the offseason, slim down when it comes down to it. But what are you projecting for Lamar Jackson? Do you think a QB1 season is in the realm of possibility for Lamar Jackson?
Like the QB1? Yeah. Why not?
QB1.
Why not?
The QB1.
Why not? Why not?
It's interesting, right? It's not something I would have projected even a couple weeks ago. But if he's, again, sometimes
here goes
you can read situations.
I mean, those muscles aren't going to make him more accurate. Get the hell out of here, Brunin. He's fine. He's fine. Stop it. Stop with this.
I am concerned about Hollywood leaving. I think that's a big piece of this puzzle, and we don't know how that's going to shake out for the offense, especially early on. But you're talking about a guy who can win a game by himself. Like, I think it would be really interesting to see him not get this contract. You talk about how he peaked too early, didn't get the contract extension, come back, win the MVP this year, and force the Ravens to give him his $250 million, his $300 million.
Let's go.
That would be, I think, the ultimate story for Lamar Jackson. Negotiate his own deal, him and his mom. Like, that would be incredible to see him come back, win the MVP. Now, he's not the front runner, but again, this is a guy who does it on his own. I think that's the biggest thing here is that he just does it all on his own. It seems like he's got Mark Andrews, he's got Rashad Bateman, he's got a running game depending on who's in the backfield that day. But he's the guy, live or die. The Ravens live or die with Lamar Jackson. And as much as I hate that for him, the individual, it's just the system that they have, the way that they play. And I think that there's a real shot. If I may have to throw some money down Lamar Jackson with MVP, because I think there's better chance that he wins it than people are kind of giving him credit for. And while we love the Herberts, the Mahomes, the Bradys, I think that Lamar really could put the team on his back, ride them to 12, 13 wins, take them all the way there, and then win another MVP. For his, 2 MVPs before his second contract would be incredible.
That'd be nuts, right?
That would be incredible.
Because people are talking about, he has nobody to throw to. I'm going to see who he had the year that he won MVP, who he had to throw to.
Same cast of guys,
It's the
right?
same
It's
cast of
Andrews and
guys.
Hollywood.
What are
Mark
people
Ingram was a big factor there too, right? Because he was
Who?
running the ball pretty well over there. Mark Ingram.
He won the MVP in 2019. The Ravens were 14-2. They were 14-2. He won the MVP, and his leading receiver that season was Mark Andrews with 64 receptions, 852 yards. His second leading receiver was Hollywood Brown with 46 for 584. And his third leading receiver was Willie Snead, 31 for 339. So everybody out there talking that shit about he ain't got nobody to throw to, he's gonna have to throw to himself. Go check the stats, right? Go look at what he had the season that he won MVP, and you're telling me that Mark Andrews now, 2 years later, Rashad Bateman in his second season, like he'll be fine. He's gonna be fine. Like he's never had anybody to throw to. Ball. He's only had one guy. So I like the narrative, Jay. I like the narrative. Talking about Lamar Jackson comeback season. He had nobody, bruh, when he won MVP in 2019. He's got a more advanced Mark Andrews. I just read you who he had. He had nobody back then, bruh, and he won the NFL MVP. So yes, that is within the range of outcomes for Lamar Jackson. Everybody out there hating on L-Jax, get that hate out your heart on a Friday. Get it out your heart. Accept the inevitable that he's a dope-ass quarterback. He's a unique player in the NFL, and he's got just as good a chance to win MVP with his skill set and nobody to throw to as he did in 2019. What we got next, Jay?
So the last piece of news, Ray, we got to talk about it. It's what we're going to dive into today. The core of the show, like we talked about, what is going on in Carolina and in Cleveland as well a little bit. Baker Mayfield finally traded to the Carolina Panthers for a 2024 fifth-round pick, and I believe it can escalate to a fourth-round pick. The team split the money that Baker was owed, and then Baker also gave back $3.5 million that was converted to incentives. So, Ray, we have Baker Mayfield on Carolina. What does this mean for the quarterback market now? Seattle has already said they're going to roll with Drew Lock and Geno Smith. I mean, we know they're locked in for a top 5 pick, but the Carolina Panthers are trying to do something now. Now, they also claim that there's going to be a quarterback battle. I mean, how realistic is that going to be? They need Baker to get the reps with the team. What does it mean for DJ Moore? What does it mean for Christian McCaffrey? But overall, Ray, how do you think this is going to impact the Panthers? Because for me, I don't really see a ton of impact. I think Baker's a better quarterback. They're going to maybe be second in the NFC South at best, right? They're not going to win the NFC South. And then on top of that, do you think this gives DJ Moore a better shot to return value this season? Because I think that's the biggest question. DJ Moore, 1,200-yard player for the past 3 seasons, only player to ever have 1,200 yards his first 3 seasons. So where are you at with DJ Moore now? And where are you at with the Carolina Panthers as a whole? Because I think it's QB upgrade, but I don't know if this impacts their win total a whole lot. And on top of that, Ray, who's winning week 1? Cleveland, Carolina, week 1. I'm excited, man. And I believe Carolina's still underdogs in that game if you want to take some action on that spread.
Did you see the graphic of the NFC South quarterbacks? Did you see? Here it is. For those of y'all who didn't see it, potential starting quarterbacks in the NFC South. Baker Mayfield, first overall. Jameis Winston, first overall. Marcus Mariota, second overall. And there's the GOAT, Tom Brady, 199th overall for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's safe to assume Tampa Bay is going to win that division. But let's talk Baker. Okay, we've been seeing since we got on the show. I see everybody is basically saying this doesn't don't move the Carolina Panthers, right? This doesn't drastically change Carolina and the outcome of that offense. I agree to an extent. Like, it doesn't drastically change it, but Sam Darnold, in my opinion, was worse than some of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. I do not believe that Sam Darnold is a top 32 quarterback in the NFL. I think we could sit down, list out, and find 32 quarterbacks better than Sam Darnold. So Baker Mayfield's played 4 years, and I heard a stat, Jay, or a fact, that Baker Mayfield is the 3rd quarterback in like the last, I don't know, I'm going to say 30, 40 years, however long that went number 1 overall and didn't make it to their 5th year with the team that drafted him. And it's Baker Mayfield, Jamarcus Russell, and there was some other bum that didn't get to their 5th year with the team. Maybe Josh Rosen. I think it was Josh Rosen. No, it wasn't Rosen because they have to be drafted number 1. I know it was Baker, Russell, and then
Goff even would have made it, right?
Yeah. So he's better than Sam Darnold. Let's start there. He's better than Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Period. He's better than Sam Darnold. This is a better situation. How much better is the question, right? Like, it's a better situation with Baker Mayfield. He's had 2 good seasons and 2 terrible seasons in the NFL. And a lot of people have explained reasons why, and it made excuses, given reasons, whatever you want to say, as to why he was so bad last year. The shoulder injury that he suffered early. The offensive line did decline. Like, we look at Cleveland and we're like, oh, they're a top line. Wyatt Teller and Jedrick Wills. I know they have the pieces, and when all healthy, they are a top offensive line in the NFL. But last season, they didn't play as a top offensive unit, right? A top offensive line unit. The wide receiver core, I don't want to give him that pass, because while it may not have been the Dallas Cowboys or the Cincinnati Bengals, I guess he still had, you still had Jarvis to throw to. You still had some tight ends. Point is, Baker wasn't healthy last year. He was not healthy. The situation was bad. I don't know what went on in Cleveland. Like, it just seemed like from the Hugh Jackson era all the way until his departure, he had moments, right? I think this is a better situation for the Panthers pass catchers, but I agree with the overall sentiment that I'm not taking DJ Moore, who's currently being valued as wide receiver 15, and then jumping him up to like wide receiver 10, wide receiver 9, wide receiver 8. I think it's a better situation, man. He's a better quarterback. I don't care how you slice it. He's better than what Sam Darnold is, and he's better than PJ Walker, and he's better than Matt Corral. The question is, does it even matter, man? Like, this team is probably, Jay, going to be very bad. And if this team is very bad this year, Matt Rhule will be gone. They might find a new GM. There's ownership changes in the works for Carolina. Like this. And if they bring in a new coach, man, new coach, new OC, new GM, they're not going to say we're going to ride with the guy that we just traded for in the off. Like, he's gone, right? Like, they haven't picked up his 5th year. Like, unless he balls the hell out and saves Matt Rhule. And if Baker balls out, they probably keep Matt Rhule. And then in that case, you've got Baker Mayfield. But I think the outcome that I'm banking on, or I believe will happen, is they're not going to be very good. He will have a new home after this season. I don't believe it's a quarterback battle. You don't make this trade. You don't make this trade and taking on Baker Mayfield for him to compete with the job. I get it. Let's compete. Let's have an open competition. Week 1, Baker Mayfield's going to be the starting quarterback of the Carolina Panthers. That's what it is. I don't know, man. I really don't know how to feel about anything besides it's a little bit better today than it was 2 days ago with those pass catchers.
Yeah, I think overall we have to just look at it from the approach that Baker's never been a high-volume passer. We don't project Carolina to be a high-volume passing offense, but I think he can be more accurate, right? I think that's the main thing that we're looking for here is a quarterback who can be more accurate. DJ Moore had the most uncatchable passes in the league last year, and I believe it was like 46 or something ridiculous like that, like an extremely high number. And you bring in Baker Mayfield, who you can say, in Cleveland, he had a receiving corps, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., but it felt institutional, like from the very top all the way down, man. The way that Cleveland operated, like, it's crazy to see Odell Beckham just be terrible on Cleveland. And people blame Baker Mayfield for that. And maybe it was Baker's fault, but maybe it was a system. Maybe it's the way that they chose to operate the offense. And then, he goes to the Rams and all of a sudden it's like, wow, Odell's really good again. And it's like, well, what was the root cause of this? And I'm curious to see what Matt Rhule does with them, because I think he'll put Baker in a more college style offense, right? I think that's kind of the way that they're going to operate in Carolina. So for me, I don't know. Like, so you see 5-Star P here saying, do you see Darnold being traded or being the backup? Realistically, who's going to want him? Like, who wants Sam Darnold? We talked about this a long time ago. Like, okay, Darnold's going to get a shot. Like, all these quarterbacks kind of get their shots when they're high draft picks. This may be Baker's, second to last shot. But Darnold? Who's taking on Sam Darnold? Like, other than to be a backup quarterback.
I know he stinks, but somebody will. Somebody will.
But I don't.
Man.
I don't even view him in the light of Jared Goff anymore. Like, I think Jared Goff, when he's done in Detroit, will go be a serviceable backup for an NFL team. I don't think Sam Darnold even has that in him right now, because is he really going to take on that role? Does he? I don't think he gets traded, to be honest. It's too much money. Who's going to trade for him?
Eric, Eric in the Discord Heisman chat, he dropped an interesting stat. He does some waiver wire stuff, deep diving into rosters with Scott Connor, and he did some data, some analysis that, did you know, on average, it's like 50-something quarterbacks start games in the NFL per season. I think he said like 55 quarterbacks on average start games per season. Now, you do the math, 32 teams, 32 starters, but 55 quarterbacks start a season.
Yeah.
We all know that he's not good, but I think Joe said it earlier in the chat, man. These first-round quarterbacks, dude, they get chance after chance after chance after chance, even when we know they've been bad, right? I'd venture to say this is probably Darnold's last chance here, but will somebody, if their starter goes down, think about it, right? Kirk Cousins goes down early, knock on wood. We don't want that to happen, but, you know, are they going to roll with Kellen Mond?
You got to do something, right?
You got to do something at that point, right? Anything, like somebody that just is competent. And we can agree to disagree if Sam Darnold's competent, but let's get off of Darnold. Let's get off Baker Mayfield. What are we doing with him right now? Because I'm looking at his ADP, and he's coming off the board as QB 32. So QB 32, let me just give you a couple of names ahead of old Baker. Let me just ask you, who would you rather have? Baker Mayfield or Malik Willis?
I would take Baker Mayfield.
Okay. Baker Mayfield or Desmond Ridder?
I think it's still Baker Mayfield.
It's Baker Mayfield. You are doing
no, so
good
Desmond,
today. You're doing good today.
I think Ridder has a small shot of starting. I don't really see that so much from Malik this year. So I think
small shot of starting, Baker Mayfield's going to start.
You've got some stink, though. Let's just be honest. Baker's got some stink.
Don't skip us early. It's not.
But I do want to point out that I believe they have a very easy starting schedule for Carolina, so he could get off to a bit of a hot start. So that's important too.
Okay. And one quick point. I saw people talking about the offensive line. Don't forget, the offensive line is bad, but they did draft Ike Ekwonu, number 8 overall. I'm just saying.
We'll see how much it helps, right?
It helps a little bit, right? Icky will help. All right, Baker Mayfield or Jared Goff?
I'm taking Jared Goff. I think I do believe that Jared Goff probably has more value long term, especially than Baker Mayfield does right now. But I can see a world, where you want Baker.
Baker or Daniel Jones?
I think I want Baker.
I think I would want Baker Mayfield as well.
But can we talk about the upside factor of this all, right? Like really quickly. We want Baker because we think he's gonna be the better quarterback, but should we be taking Daniel Jones because of what Dable could maybe do with him?
Maybe
really like revive that value. And I think the bigger point is I just don't see that happening in Carolina. Like he may be fine. He may complete 63% of his passes. The offense is going to be okay. They're not going to win a lot of games, but if Daniel Jones kind of turn around New York a little bit, make them seem competent, if he can seem like a competent quarterback, people might be back in, because while there's a lot of stink on Jones, there's a lot of love for Dable, right? Look at what he did with Josh Allen, how he transformed Josh Allen in that offense. I think there's a world where maybe Daniel Jones gets that value back, but I think today I would still take Baker. I think he's just a better quarterback. I believe more in the talent. And I think, if Daniel Jones really flames out, like his value is gone. Like he's got zero value. And Baker, I think, could rise in value a little bit with the first couple starts.
Y'all really don't like Baker? I'm asking the question sincerely. Is it because he has had 2 good seasons in the NFL? Last year he was hurt. I'm trying to understand where the I'm legitimately asking, like, what is it about? Is it last season that, because going into before last season, people were like, hey man, this could be a big season. OBJ is healthy, Baker's there, the O-line, they invested in it. Why are we just, is it the drama? Is it because he was bad last year, but he played hurt? Okay, Mike A said he's cocky, rarely produces, easy to dislike. And I think that's part of it, man. If I'm being real, I think it's part of it, because you can't sell me on some of these cats over Baker Mayfield. I guess I'm dug in like Antonio Gibson, man. Like I'm not out here saying take Baker Mayfield as QB 15 or 16 or even QB 20. But I'm looking at this list. I was like, there's no way in hell I'm taking Desmond Ridder, Daniel Jones. All right, the last one I'm gonna ask you is Davis Mills or Baker Mayfield.
Davis Mills. Even though I don't view Davis Mills as a starter necessarily beyond this year, at least I wouldn't be planning for it if I was like planning my dynasty team. I think that Davis Mills will be just fine this season. But Ray, to kind of go back to Baker a little bit, I wish I could find the tweet, but there was a tweet put out somewhere, I forget by what site, but talking about Baker Mayfield's fourth quarter stats, and especially late in games. It was like in the last 4 minutes, and they are god awful, like just terrible. Basically just showing you this is a guy who, while in the first 3 quarters, he can look pretty good. In the fourth quarter, when it's late, when it matters, this dude crumbles. And that's ultimately what we view the difference between a great quarterback and a franchise quarterback and a quarterback who's really just a guy who can start for you, but isn't going to be a franchise changer for you. And so I think that's the biggest thing with Baker. And people know that about him. Like, these stats are out there. And so while I think he can be a good quarterback, he's not the guy who's been winning the Browns games. And, you know, we talk about this good season he had. I mean, 3,800 yards, 3,500 yards. That 2019 season, 22 touchdowns, 21 picks. That last season where he won 11 games, lost 5, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, only 3,500 yards. Now, they are primarily, you know, run-first offense, but it's not like he's really lighting the world on fire. 7 yards per attempt, 7.5 yards per attempt or so. So, again, we'll see. But, you know, with what he's been doing over the past couple seasons, it's just like we've seen the potential. But I think when it comes down to it, we just know he's not going to be the guy for a team long term. And so knowing that, it's like, do we believe he can turn it around? Maybe. And I do believe there's a maybe chance he turns it around. But I don't think it's with Matt Rhule, and I don't think it's with the Carolina Panthers. And I think that's where I'm at with Baker Mayfield. We've seen the talent in college, drafted first overall. We've seen that been in the NFL. But he hasn't shown up in fourth quarters, and I think he needs a safer system, coaching staff in place to really help him thrive in the NFL personally.
Yeah, I think that's a good assessment of it and a good way to put the bow on this. And I think overall, I think we are in agreement, group, wake up crew. We're not making wholesale changes, right? We're not going out here and saying Baker Mayfield, QB1, right? He wasn't that whenever he was good, right? We were still like, he's a rock solid QB2. You want to throw him in your QB slot in super flex. The unfortunate thing is I don't think it's going to be in care. They're just bad. I know there are pieces there. I know there's Christian McCaffrey, and he should be fine. I think DJ Moore is going to be fine. I think he's going to be the primary target. He's going to get his targets. He's going to get his receptions. I do believe Baker is much better than Sam Darnold, so it should help DJ Moore. I'm not going out here and putting DJ Moore as a top 5 option with Baker Mayfield, but if I have DJ Moore, I'm happier today with Baker Mayfield than I am with Matt Corral, Sam Darnold, or PJ Walker. Quick fallout, Matt Corral, that's it. I mean,
yeah, when the hell is he going to play? Like, honestly.
He's somebody that I had going in. First of all, everybody was all off pre-draft, but I thought he was the best of the quarterbacks pre-draft. He was my QB1, right? And then all of them get drafted in the 3rd round. So we were all just down up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. But did you see the video of Matt Rhule and the Panthers before they drafted Matt Corral? And they're like, we want him. He's the guy.
Really?
He can make the throw. Oh, yeah, they're in the war room. He's the guy. He can make the throws. Let's get him. But that's it for Matt Corral. A new regime, 3rd round pick quarterback. I don't even know what to do with him on my rosters. Like, I've got Matt Corral.
You got to hold, man.
I don't even know what to do with him, man.
People are asking, is he rosterable? I mean, he has to be rostered. He's a quarterback, right? You mentioned it, 50 quarterbacks start a season, you know, approximately, give or take a few. There is a world where he does see the field, right? Like, if Baker's struggling, again, I think the reality is that they're not saying he's the backup, but maybe he is the backup.
Who?
Like, if we're just being real. Matt Corral.
Maybe Corral is the backup.
I think because they're not going to say that, but maybe he is, because they're not going to turn to Sam Darnold. Like, let's just be real. Yeah. Unless it's in a pinch, short week, middle of a game, maybe like he's the emergency quarterback. But if Baker gets hurt and they have at least a week to get Matt Corral ready to start, I can see a world where, as a Panthers organization, they say, you know what, we drafted this guy. Let's see what he's got, because we're getting fired anyway. So we might as well try and do something to save our jobs here.
This is okay. The only small sliver of hope that we have is if Baker just stinks. Is just yesterday, man. I had to go under my sink because like it was clogged up. What the fuck, man? Just water.
Where is this going?
Up. It's a long-winded. I'm about to get into a long-winded story just to say he stinks. I'll leave it alone. All right. Here's the thing. If Baker stinks, like very bad, I do think there's a world in which they either move Darnold or whatever, right? But what if Corral's the backup and he goes out there? If he gets on the field, you need to trade him. I don't care what you.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I think there's a small chance that Baker's just bad. The O-line is not good. They're done. Matt Rhule is fired. The interim coach takes over, and they're just like, let's put the rookie out there the last 2 weeks. But long term, new regime, new coaching staff. That's it for Matt Corral. Now, Joe did talk about and Pete said I hadn't heard any bad report. I don't think he's been bad. I just think it's the fact that Carolina's gonna be bad. You know what I'm saying? And they're not going to want to build around this third round rookie. If you're the new coach in Carolina, you're like that, man. Because if Carolina's bad, they're gonna be in the CJ Stroud, Bryce Young sweepstakes. We were looking on DraftKings for the teams projected to have like the worst records in the NFL, and Carolina's right up there. It's one of the lowest scoring offenses and one of the worst records in the NFL. So they're definitely going to Ray, what's good on that sink, bro? I'll just leave the sink alone. I got the shit out of there, and my 2-year-old went to the bucket and was like, that's yucky. And I'm like, yeah, man, that is yucky, and it stinks too. But let's talk Jimmy G real quick. Real quick. There's some people that still think that Kyle Shanahan.
Do you think he's good?
No, I
really. I think he's good, man. I think he's better than people will ever give him credit for. I do. I think he's better than people will ever give him credit for. And
that's
actually,
a different question. That's a different question than is he good?
Okay.
Is he better than people give him credit for? Probably. He's a competent quarterback. Is he good? No.
He's a winner.
He's not good. And what does Jimmy G do on Seattle? I think it helps out DK Metcalf. Like, I think.
Oh, no.
It's better than Drew.
Wait,
we're back to the same shit sandwich. It's Geno Smith and Drew Lock. It's Sam Darnold and Matt Corral and Baker Mayfield. What shit sandwich do you want the most, man?
Does Jimmy have that live arm, though? Like, even though Geno Smith, Drew Lock, I get it. That's
one of the
gross.
shit sandwiches is it's firm and sturdy and solid, and the other one is runny, like a sloppy Joe. Which one do you want? You want the runny sloppy Joe shit sandwich? That's Seattle. You want the one that's solid that you can pick up and hold and crunch into? That's Carolina. Which one? Neither of them sound appealing, but if I had to ask you, which shit sandwich would you prefer? You want the sloppy Joe version, or do you want the solid version? I take the one that's
Mr. Rock Solid.
Yeah, I want the hard one. Give me the hard one. Give me the hard shit sandwich. I don't want the running one. And that's Carolina. Jimmy Garoppolo's being. Listen to this. Would you rather Jimmy Garoppolo or Matt Corral?
I'd rather probably have Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, he's going after Matt Corral. Jimmy Garoppolo or Mariota. I mean, he's under Mariota and Corral, and I'd prefer Mitch Trubisky over all these guys. But what does Jimmy G do on Seattle? I think it's better than what they have, right? It's better than what they have.
And I don't think he goes to Seattle anyways. I don't think it makes sense for Seattle to trade for him. It was Carolina. That was the destination because they want to win. Even though they probably can't win, they want to win, right? And this is their move to try and win, trading for another quarterback. And, we'll see where it gets them this time around after trading for Teddy Two Gloves and Sam Darnold. But, I mean, for me, it's unfortunately looking like San Fran's going to be stuck with Jimmy. Unless, for some reason, Jimmy goes to Cleveland, which we'll see because he's still healing from his surgery. He's still coming back. So even for him, he hasn't fully come back, and they can't even trade him yet because he's not going to pass the physical. But, I mean, the other question I have for you, Ray, and I'm just curious about this, is Sam Darnold the second quarterback in the tradable quarterback market right now? Like, who else would be available behind Jimmy G? Before it was Jimmy G, Baker Mayfield. Now, in theory, if someone gets hurt, it's Jimmy G and Sam Darnold. And I feel like the Niners have to wait for an injury to some quarterback and then send Jimmy G to that team, because I just don't see Seattle trading for a quarterback. I don't think they want to win in that fashion to where they're going to trade for Jimmy, pay him all this money. They'll
I'm gonna
let
give you.
San
I'm gonna
Fran
give you a
hold that
dirty
bag.
question. I'm gonna give you a nasty
God.
one. Jimmy G, Sam Darnold, or Tyler Huntley from Baltimore?
Oh,
Can I interest you in some Tyler Huntley?
can I have some team personnel? What kind of team am I looking at here?
Doesn't
Because
matter.
I kind of want Tyler Huntley.
Let's say
like,
they
I
all
kinda
get
do.
a chance. They all get a chance to start. Like whoever it is, it's Darnold's going to be the starter.
Guaranteed
Jimmy G's going to be the
start
starter
at some point.
Or Tyler. I don't know. It doesn't matter the team. Some team gets hurt, they're going to be the starter. Tyler Huntley, Jimmy Garoppolo, or Sam Darnold.
I kind of like Tyler Huntley.
I kind of
man.
like
especially
him too.
for fantasy. Like, say what you want about real
He's
NFL
not
winning games,
bad.
blah blah. But Tyler Huntley showed some things last season, and so if there was a guy that I think could be on that Tyrod Taylor trajectory,
That's what I'm saying.
It's Tyler Huntley, and
That's what
you're
I'm
making
saying.
some good points. I
That's
don't
what I'm
mind Tyler
saying.
Huntley at all. I think he's a good quarterback. But would Baltimore trade him knowing that
Probably
Lamar
not.
is
No.
knowing that Lamar's had some injury concerns and things like that? That's
No.
where things kind of fall apart. Where Jimmy and Sam Darnold, maybe not Sam Darnold that much because who the hell wants them, are firmly on the block. But again, man, the more this goes on, I'm a little bit fearful of Trey Lance's starting security this season. I just gotta say it. I gotta say it. Trey Lance needs to be the starter. There's still bad reports coming out of Niners camp about arm fatigue and junk like that. Did you see that?
No.
Reports
and
of arm fatigue from Trey Lance.
Jay, you've
I
had
don't
a
know
good
what's
show.
going on.
Let me tell you, you've done well. Don't
I'm
do
just saying,
this, man. Don't
The
do
longer Jimmy G's on the roster,
don't do
you just
this,
have to
man.
wonder, man, like, are they going to do the right thing and just start Trey Lance and just let us know, like,
Yes.
he's the guy? I hope so, man, but they've done some questionable things in the past. They just have, and I just can't trust them. Can you trust the Niners organization to do the right thing?
Don't do this. Like, for real, man. Don't start with this Trey Lance isn't going to start shit. Don't do it,
I think
man.
he's going to start, but I wish the Niners would just commit. They have yet to commit, and that's annoying. Like, it annoys me 100%.
All right.
That they won't commit.
All right, let's get it before we get out of here. Yes, this was what I'm watching in the background. For those of y'all who don't know, the Locks versus Dipset, the highlight, top 5 COVID moment. Top 5 COVID event was the Locks versus Dipset versus. What are you trading for Baker Mayfield? What are you giving up for Baker Mayfield? I'm seeing, here's what I've seen.
Maybe a third.
Well, you're not getting him. This is what I've seen. I've seen him move for a single 23 first. I've seen the going rate in Dynasty. The going rate that I've seen are 2 seconds. Most people are like, I'll give you 2 seconds for Baker Mayfield. I've seen a 24 first. I've seen a 23 first. I've seen 2 seconds. I have not seen a third. I've not seen a third. Stop it.
Come on, dude.
I got
everyone out there, if you're listening, do not trade for Baker Mayfield if you need to pay a first once. Like, it's not worth it to me. Like, Ray, is it worth it to you? Honestly, that's ridiculous. 2 seconds, even 2 seconds for Baker Mayfield. I'm not doing that. I need the draft capital.
Wow, y'all are
too much.
Y'all are wild. So you won't
you're
trade
not
first
trading
for Baker, but people are trading
league.
first for Mitch Trubisky? You traded first for Mitch Trubisky?
Am I trading a first for Mitch Trubisky? No, but I like Mitch Trubisky on top of that. I think he could be a really great quarterback on a really good team. The issue with Mitch Trubisky is they drafted Kenny Pickett. Otherwise, he's the locked and loaded starter.
You're a contender.
You're
a contender, all right? You're a contender. You got a strong roster. It's super flex, but your super flex 2 spot, I can't even say this without coughing. Your super flex 2 spot is bad. You're a contender.
I did this last year.
You're
I know where we're going with this.
Your first is projected to be late. You've got a squad that's ready to go get it. You just need a second quarterback, best ball, third quarterback. You wouldn't move your late 23. I'm just asking. This is shit that I've seen happen. You wouldn't move your late 23 first for that second quarterback?
Ray, I've done it, and it hurt. It hurt me to my soul. Last year, I traded a 22 first for Sam Darnold. It did not work out. It did not work out. I had to your point. I had to. I had no options. I had options. What am I going to do? I got all these players. Good team.
James Cook.
Ready to contend.
James Cook or Baker Mayfield? I got an offer. James Cook for Baker Mayfield.
James Cook, man. Don't even just.
I just had to ask. I just had to see ya. You'd rather have James Cook.
Be great. 100%. Not even close. James Cook could outproduce Baker Mayfield. Let's just keep it real. He really could.
Man.
You never know. You
Okay.
never know. He's a great running back, but
All
that's
right.
just me. I do like Trubisky. I wouldn't necessarily trade for him, but Baker, I'm absolutely not trading for at those costs. I just can't.
All right. There it is. All right, we got a super flex from James. Let's get that in here. Let's get James in the building. Let's get it up. What is it? I posted the link to join our Wake Up League on the DD
Yes.
Discord channel, Wake Up General. Let the people know. League, DD League, James, good people, good group. Get over there. I was going to go in there and look at some trades, but we are out of time. We will do that next week for sure. Make sure you tap into the squad. Make sure you tap in everything that we got going on over there. 4D's got a new podcast that dropped today. Make sure you check out the 40 episode podcast feed. Got a newsletter coming out tomorrow. We appreciate y'all rocking with us this week. Anything you want to say to the people before we get out of here, Jay?
No, man, I'm good. I think
All right.
I hope everyone has a good weekend.
Yeah.
Don't trade for Baker Mayfield right now.
Oh,
I'm not
gosh.
feeling it. And I'm excited for training camp, man. I've been telling you this for days. Like, I'm just waiting. I need those reports. I need the hot takes.
Yeah.
I would just say to people, prepare yourselves, because regardless of how experienced you are in the dynasty space, sometimes you just need to remind yourself that
Questions that
this is
need to
just
be
a
answered.
bunch
This
of
is an important
bullshit.
question. Ray G or Baker Mayfield? Who you taking?
At quarterback, I think I'm taking Baker Mayfield.
This fucking
Any other
guy.
position, I'm taking Ray G. Just
Yeah.
keep it
All right.
real. Just keep it
Appreciate
real.
it, 5-star Pete. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Thank y'all for rocking with us this week. Y'all have a fantastic freaking weekend. Be safe. Have some fun. And make sure you wake y'all asses up bright and early on Monday morning. I don't know what we're going to do, but it's going to be a good time. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We out. Peace.